Yeah, I looked to go forward once we got to the 1200 when Larry went forward and set off a 52.5 on the backside. She's been unlucky the last couple of runs.
Sensational, Jimmy. Hit the line strong. Well, you're just about to peak. The big races are coming up. You got Diatribe in the Derby and Referral in the Doncaster. What about Diatribe today?
Yeah, look, I think he's just got to have a nice cosy run, get him to relax early, and I'll worry about the race from the 600 home, mate.
All right, Referral's peaking at the right time for the Doncaster.
Yeah, he's trained by the same trainer, Steve Engelbert. He's done a great job with him, and he just wants a little bit of luck in running, mate. Big race is always hard to win.
You don't mind sitting down looking good for the photos on days like today?
No, mate. You've got to rise to the occasion on the big days.
Jimmy Pumper Cassidy, folks.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. And the class of Jimmy Cassidy was shown there because this filly used to always get back in the races. You put a top rider on her, you see the speed slow up, straight up he goes, straight up outside the lead, ready for action. And, well, congratulations to Jimmy Cassidy. And, of course, this is the Referral camp trained at Warwick Farm by Stephen Engelbrecht.
Yes, there's Jimmy Cassidy coming back to scale, and Steve Engelbrecht, he's got a big day in front of him. Referral a little later on, and he'll be really hoping that he can have a double on this enormous San Miguel day here at Randwick. Time for us to take a quick break, and just around the corner, the trainer of Diatribe, another one of the Jimmy Cassidy rides, George Hanlon.
Still to come, all the action from the $2 million Derby. Plus, we'll see how the special touch of veteran trainer George Hanlon puts Diatribe among the favourites for the big race. Today on Wide World of Sports.
The pumper, he's on fire. Jimmy Cassidy on Derby and Doncaster Day here at Randwick. Connections are on fire too. There's a cold breeze here at Randwick. They weren't feeling it as Dotteressa went home in the Adrian Knox Stakes. Group 3, 2,000 metres. And Jimmy Cassidy will be very happy with his start. Steve Engelbrecht's the trainer of Dotteressa and also the trainer of Referral in the big race, the Doncaster, and here he is with Andrew Voss.
And Simon, right at the moment, it's a beaming Steve Engelbrecht. I mean, that's the way you like to win him.
It is the way you like to win him. She raced very well today, and you know, she's a very stout dour filly, and she'll go on to a lot better things, I think.
Out of Dr. Grace, so obviously going to get a bit more ground too.
Yeah, and she's out of a Biscay mare, but her granddam's Lady Athenea won a New Zealand Oaks, so that's probably where she gets most of her stamina from.
Well, what about the Oaks here?
Well, next week she'll back up. She's a pretty tough filly, so she's got to be a chance next week as well.
All right, well, now you've got that under your belt. You plan for the Doncaster with Referral. We know from the past that a normal pre-race routine or the night before is to have a game of cards with the owner. Did that happen last night?
No, unfortunately, it was Good Friday, and good Italian Catholic boys, they wouldn't play, so we missed out.
All right, so the last word on Referral, what can we expect?
Oh, look, he's super fit and very well, and he gets a bit of luck. He'd be very hard to beat.
It'd be nice to have two winners on Derby Doncaster Day.
Oh, wouldn't it ever? Make the bank balance look a bit better, wouldn't it?
All right, Steve Engelbrecht there. Back to you, Simon.
Thanks for that, Vossi. And Kenny, there are the totes.
Yeah, Dotteressa, the Steve Engelbrecht winner, $7.60 and $2.30. Number 9, Avilda, $6.10. And number 7, Kirkstall Lane, $3.70. The relevant Quinella and trifecta information is on screen. Here's the Derby totes, or the early totes. Shogun Lodge at $7 exactly. Fairway at $15. Diatribe at $13. Blackfriars at $3.40. Freemason, $7.70. I tipped him this morning in the paper and I still like him. $16 Oval Office, $15 Crawl, Cloth of Gold at $26, Now Voyager at $30, $83 for Liberty Hall, Bias Bay at $87, Kin Con Khan at $15, Padfoot Charlie at $19, Uncle Nugget as a roughie from the Bart Cummings team at $75, and Hill of Grace, the filly, is well in commission at $7.80.
And one of the shots we're missing this afternoon, Ken, or at the moment, is the Goodyear Blimp, and the reason it's not here because you can probably see it's pretty blowy and it's getting blown all over the place, and we probably take a shot of every track in Australia. Actually, it's getting blown around all that much. So
I think he'd be in competition with Qantas and Ansett if he stayed up there for much longer.
I think he would be. And someone who's very disappointed about it is Kenny Sutcliffe, because he likes to sort of wave to them and pretend they're his best friend. Don't you, Kenny?
Thanks very much, Simon. Yeah, I think the blimp's somewhere over New Zealand now. It's been caught in the big breeze. You know, trainer George Hanlon was one of racing's legends. He might favour unorthodox methods, but 3 Melbourne Cups, a Cox Plate and a swag of other wins have only reinforced George's habit of doing things his way. At 82, George isn't about to slow down. And this afternoon, he hopes to win his second AJC Derby with Diatribe. Tim Sheridan visited one of the great characters of the Australian turf.
He's pulled up pretty good after yesterday, that all.
You're in terrific shape yourself.
Yes, oh yeah, I'm lucky, got good health. I can, you know, I feel myself, I haven't slowed up much at all.
If it takes a stayer to no one, George Hanlon fits the bill. Whatever Diatribe does in the Derby this afternoon will reflect one of the truly unique approaches to training.
I thought you could go around that way.
On the soft track. Oh, the long one?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I think so.
I'll canter over there.
You can canter over.
It's a long way from the pre-dawn stampede at City Tracks. Here there's no track, but a paddock on George's property at Leopold near Geelong. George knows that 60 kilometres an hour is 12 seconds to the furlong, and work begins after sunrise.
Much better to work when you can see what they're doing than working when everyone's in a hurry. And also the horses here, they haven't got the bustle of people trotting up behind them and coming, you know, passing. They're all, you can take your time and they can relax a lot better.
It means you get a bit more sleep too, doesn't it?
A little more. Yeah. It's all beneficial, I suppose.
Diatribe came to prominence in the spring of last year when Greg Hall kicked him clear of the Amy Vase field on Cox Plate Day.
Diatribe's coming after him very quickly as they corner. Diatribe has dashed to the lead for Greg Hall now from Chief Scout and then Clough of Gold.
It was Diatribe's first group win, but perhaps not George's best Cox Plate Day story. Every time he looks around his beautiful property, he chuckles about the Saturday morning in 1977 when he bid heavily to buy it.
Hopped in the car and went to Moonee Valley, and Family Man won the Cox Plate about 3 hours after I bought the property. Yeah, and he won the Cox Plate.
So that help paid for it?
Well, that helps. It was a great help.
Not really disappointed with Diatribe's run in the Cadbury Guineas last month, George was happy to get Kiwi John Thompson's colt home from Flemington in one piece. On Rosehill Guineas Day 2 weeks ago, no one figured much on George and Diatribe. But across some tricky going, the best ride won the day.
And on the fence, Diatribe in front, Freemason flying all too late. Diatribe takes the Guineas. Diatribe...
Supposedly, in the autumn of his career, George found himself in the thick of the carnival.
What about the Derby now?
Oh, he'll run in the Derby. Yes, he'll run in the Derby. I kept him for this after. It's a bit unlucky his last run at Flemington, but I was tickled pink with his run, but he's done well.
The victory also highlighted that George Hanlon hasn't confined his judgment to horses.
Look, he's a legend, George Hanlon. I had my first ride in the Melbourne Cup for George, and he was actually the first trainer that got me to come to Australia, so yeah, what a great thrill to be able to win this for George.
Gracious, grandfatherly, there's a charm about George that makes him eminently huggable.
Good on you, mate. Well, good on you, Jim. Very good. Very proud, mate. Very good. Give me a great thrill to win that, Claire. Good, good on you.
George, good on you.
Wasn't it good, eh?
You're a great old man.
Wasn't it good?
Yep.
Fantastic.
George grew up near Adelaide, deciding to be a trainer while delivering milk on a pony as a 7-year-old. The youngest of 12 children, he learnt respect for his elders.
You look after this old fella, George.
My word, he gets this every morning and night. He gets this. Big feed.
You have great memories of the day he won?
My word. Yeah, my word.
Here comes R1 with a great run. 200 metres left to go. R1 takes the lead in the Melbourne Cup.
22 years after he won George a second Melbourne Cup as a 5-year-old, R1 lives in pampered splendour.
But to look at him, he looks very good if you get him around from him. He's used to that. You can see how he can eat. He's healthy. He looks real good.
Will you forgive me for making a comparison between you, the two of you? You both look pretty good.
Yes, yeah. But, thank goodness.
George uses a nearby beach or his pool for his horses and swims himself every day as well. He rarely takes his eyes off the job.
This is your view.
Yep. I can see how all the horses are the resting, or how the horses are. If horses are playing up with one another, you shift them.
There was a twinkle in the old man's eye when he and the pumper grabbed the goods at Rose Hill. We all know he's a great trainer, but ask him about that, and George is typically no nonsense.
Any horse that I've had that's had any ability, I'm pleased to know that you've got the best out of them.
What a gorgeous character, and Tim Sheridan reporting there. Well, we're only about 20 minutes away from the first of the big double here on Derby Doncaster Day. The Derby coming away on Wide World of Sports. Everybody is in gear for this one. Big crowd here on a very windy and chilly day at Royal Randwick. But nevertheless, the heat will be on in a few minutes' time when we have the Derby, followed a little later on this afternoon by the Doncaster. All the action on Wide World of Sports right after the break.
Over the rise, and Hunter on the outside headed Might, but here comes Bozam. Bozam on the outside has just cruised up to them as they top the rise. He went past them in a single stride, and Bozam left them standing. Look at that acceleration once again as he races 4 or 5 in front. Brixton Town wide out is running home hard. He's going to get second, but Bozam wins the Derby with the head on the chest.
Yes, Bozam, the 1988 Derby, and Kenny, wasn't he some sort of horse?
Yeah, he was a bit of good stuff. By golly, he got accelerated at the end of 2,400 metres, Simon. And, well, it's a testing course, the Randwick 2,400 metre course. Why don't we have a peep at it on the simulator? Because, but I want you to particularly watch when we jump halfway down the straight here. It's a big track, Randwick, but One Alley is still an advantage. And just watch the ups and downs when we watch that stake when you see him come up on the screen. All right, we're about to go into the barrier, and off they go at the 2,400 metres. Now, the bottom of the screen, you see that red line, that's even ground. Now see our little snake, because we've started halfway down the straight, he's below the red line. He'll pick up as he goes to the winning post, and then it's a long way around, Simon, and you'll see the ups and downs of the Randwick track by following our mate the snake. Now as we go here, up past after about 400 metres of the race, or 800 metres, look how much they have to climb. That's along the back of the course, past the 1,800 metre point, then they even out again in the back straight. Now that, just early in the race, separates the men from the boys.
Yeah, it certainly does separate the men from the boys, and you've just got to have a versatile horse, Ken. You've got to have one that can settle and really go to sleep, because there is plenty of ups and downs.
Yeah, when you look at the Randwick track, you wouldn't realise that that big hill, that raises a couple of metres. That's along the back of the course. Now we're into the home straight again, and you watch them pick back up as we top the rise and climb back up the hill again in the Randwick home straight. So it's not as flat as Rose Hill was last week, and it's going to be an exciting Derby, and you'll find that that testing course finds a few of these out.
Yes, the last 200 metres a little bit uphill, and I tell you, you'll be yelling and screaming if you're right in the Derby at that stage. Bob Thompson hopes Shogun Lodge will be right in the Derby at that stage, and here's his thoughts.
Bob Thompson, trainer of Shogun Lodge. It was a ding-dong battle in the Tulloch last weekend. Bob, how's the horse?
Yeah, it certainly was, Tim, but he dug deep, the horse, and we rode him a little bit upside down. He'd had 3 weeks in between runs, but we had to give him a good hard run to prepare him for today's race, and he's come through fantastic.
How will he go over a mile and a half?
Well, his record in the Victorian Derby was quite good. He was still making ground at the end of 2,500 in the spring, so it's fair to say with the time and the maturity under his belt now, the preparation he's had leading into this race, the 2,400 certainly won't be a disadvantage to him.
Bob, thanks and good luck in the Derby.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Yeah, it's a big day there for Bobby Thompson and Shogun Lodge. Let's have a look at the totes and see if he's got any support, Ken.
He's got plenty of support. He's in from an opening quote of $7 to $6.80, and he's second favourite actually on the tote. Fairway at $14, Deer Tribe at $13. The favourite is clearly the Robert Sangster owned, Peter Hayes trained Blackfriars at $3.50 to be ridden by Greg Childs. Freemason, he's third favourite at $7.50. Oval Office at $16. Crawl at $15. Cloth of Gold at $26. Now Voyager $31. Liberty Hall $84. Bias Bay $91. Ken Con Khan at $16, Padfoot Charlie at $20, $78 for Uncle Nugget, and the other horse, the fourth horse I should say, under 10 to 1 is Hill of Grace, paying $7.80.
Well, one of those horses under 10 to 1 is Blackfriars, trained by Peter Hayes. Here are his thoughts on the AJC Derby.
Peter Hayes, Blackfriars looks magnificent. How's the colt done since the Guineas 2 weeks ago?
Oh, I can't fault him. He's done everything I've asked of him. His work's been good. He's lovely and fit. Runs the 1.5 miles. Just has to have nice luck in running and he'll be right there somewhere.
Your owner doesn't seem to think you've got much opposition in this race. Do you share that confidence?
I think there's plenty of opposition. You know, like you've got to remember, he only beat Shogun Lodge a half length in the long net half length in the Victorian Derby. So, you know, I mean, there's not much between those two colts. You know, we're sort of hoping that our colts kept on improving and maybe is a length better than he was in the spring. Today will tell us.
Thanks, Peter. Back to you guys.
Yeah, certainly will tell us whether Blackfriars has improved, and he is a great chance in the Derby. I wonder what we fancy. Kenny?
Yeah, well, I'm going for the John Hawkes trained Freemason, TAB number 5. I think he's had the best preparation. I think the Philly Hill of Grace is his main danger, number 15, and I'm not forgetting Blackfriars, number 4. They're the three I think will fight it out.
Yeah, I don't know whether it means I'm learning a bit about the game or I'm just too scared to tip against you, but I've got the same three in a different order. I like Freemason. I agree with you. I think he can win it. I put Blackfriars in for second, and Hill of Grace, a great chance, the only filly in the race, but I think she's got a wonderful chance as well. Simon Marshall, he's gone against us in a big way. Fairway is his top selection. Shogun Lodge, he's got on the second line, and Blackfriars to fill his trifecta. Well, the AJC Derby, it's just around the corner. The horses are in the parade yard and plenty of nervous connections, jockeys, but the horses look pretty calm, in particular Shogun Lodge.
Yeah, he's already won $1.25 million in prize money. He likes Randwick. He won the George Main Stakes at Group 1 at this track. Had a little bit unlucky, went second in the Spring Champion Stakes. He was runner-up in the Victoria Derby, as you heard Peter Hayes say in the interview, but Blackfriars just beat him. I'm not convinced he's going quite as well as he was then, but he's a pretty good piece of horse flesh, and he looks the part today. And I'll tell you something, he's got a super trainer.
Jack Denham, he is also a super trainer. He trains number 2 Fairway after a disappointing run in the Rosehill Guineas, Ken.
Yeah, his Rosehill Guineas run was a shocker, but apparently the horse had had a few problems before that. You forget that run when he started a very, very short price favourite, 10-9 in fact. He'd probably be favoured in the race, and he did win the Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes over 2,000 here. Perhaps his danger's the last 400 metres.
Number 3 changed by George Hanlon. We've heard all about George from Tim Sheridan this afternoon, his diatribe.
Yeah, he knows how to get one ready for a big staying race, and George will be tickled pink with this fellow. He ran third in the Victoria Derby early November, and he's got him back looking the part and peaking at the right time. Last start winner of the Group 1 Rosehill Guineas. He's ready for it.
Well, number 4 is Blackfriars, and if he was in a beauty contest, he'd win it every time. He's a magnificent looking specimen.
Yeah, super duper looking stallion by Dane Hill, only a 3-year-old, but have a look at him, have a look at that power. He'd win the blue ribbon at any show, won the Victoria Derby. He's been trained for one race this preparation, and the race is on in about a quarter of an hour.
And another horse with a great chance in the Derby over 2,400 metres is number 5 Freemason. John Hawkes very confident earlier on.
Yeah, John Hawkes did sound confident. I think he's given this horse a super preparation. He should have won the Cadbury's Guineas at Flemington. His last start second in the Rosehill Guineas was excellent. He was a bit gangling and hadn't quite grown into himself, I think is the best way to describe it. In the Victoria Derby where he ran 4th, he's a better horse now.
Number 6 is Oval Office from the Colin Little stable at Caulfield, and a horse that hasn't won a race for a little while, but there seems to be plenty of ability.
Yeah, there is, and he was second in the Canterbury Guineas, 4th in the Rosehill Guineas. Just enough give in the ground today to give him his chance. I think he likes that little bit of give in the ground.
Number 7 is the son of Dr. Grace, a horse called Crawl. You hope he's doing more than crawling this afternoon.
He's been forgotten a little bit, but I'll tell you something about Crawl. He's got Barrier 2. The first 3 races are won by horses racing near the lead. He'll race near the lead, and he was placed last start in the Rosehill Guineas. I think he's over the odds, Crawl.
Well, the race book has a whole page of Bart Cummings runners coming up, and number 8 is Cloth of Gold, trained by the master.
Yeah, and this is one of the 2 best of the Cummings team. Nice 4th in the Mercedes Classic last week behind Ty the Night, and he was placed in the Canterbury Guineas. Bart's got a good opinion of him. He's got a very good jockey in Patrick Payne. He'll be there when the whips are cracking.
One of the surprise packets is number 9, Now Voyager, after a good run in the Tulloch.
Yeah, surprised me when just pipped by Shogun Lodge in the Tulloch last week. I thought he'd actually won the race, and Johnny Marshall's got no doubts he'll run the distance.
Number 10 is Liberty Hall.
Don't think he's going well enough, this son of Zabil, and his last start he performed poorly in the Rosehill Guineas.
Number 11 is Bias Bay.
Trained at Oberon in the West. He's done well to get here, but I don't think he'll be bothering some of these blue blokes.
One of the Smokies with a chance, Ken Concane, number 12.
Yes, his Queensland form was good, and he was unlucky in the Rosehill Guineas, but I don't know about him at the finish at 2,400.
Bruce Cross at Warwick Farm trains number 13, Padfoot Charlie.
Definitely a roughie with a chance. One more boundary to beat in Shogun Lodge last week in the Tulloch Stakes, and he could be a surprise packet.
Daniel Beasley rides number 14, Uncle Nugget for Bart Cummings.
Yeah, well, Uncle Nugget, the only thing you could say about him is he's buys a Bill or that he's trained by Bart Cummings. He's not good enough.
Number 15, Hill of Grace, the filly with a great chance.
Yeah, she's got a great chance, and she's a magnificent filly, this filly. Lovely, big, strong filly. She looks more like one of the colts, and there she is there. Simon, I think she's right in this.
I think she's right in it. She looks an absolute picture. Brett Preble on board. I know he's keen about her chances. She's against the boys today. I'm sure she'll stay the 2,400 metres, and it's just going to be a wonderful race. If a filly wins it, it hasn't happened for a while. I remember Dan Endry 2 or 3 years ago loomed up, but was just knocked off in the end by the Graham Rogerson horse. So
Ebony Grove.
Ebony Grove.
That was 1997. Then last year,
they're not out of it.
Graham Rogerson had Grant Archway in it himself a filly, and she finished third last year. So fillies are around there.
Now, can the 2,400 metres, we spoke about it earlier. I just thought that possibly Blackfriars and Shogun Lodge in the last 100 might just start to plod a touch.
Yeah,
am I being too hard?
I'm worried about Shogun Lodge. Blackfriars, I think, is a pretty genuine stayer, and I think Freemason will still be boxing on at that stage.
Well, the excitement is really building here as we head towards the AJC Derby of the year 2000. It's going to be an absolute cracker, and it's on the other side of the break.
Thursday on...
Welcome back on the wide world of sports. We're not far away from a start of the AJC Derby, one of the first Group 1 races, one of 3 Group 1 races we've got. Welcome back. We're in the betting pavilion here at Randwick. There's hardly enough room to swing a cat, but I am with Shane and Brett Lee as our punting challenge continues. It got off to a pretty dusty start. That's just the early overs, though. You can get wickets round about the 15th over. Shane Lee, the AJC put up $1,000. You started the day with 500. You're down to 400. Where's your 100 going here?
I'm on Shogun Lodge. I think Bobby Thompson's the trainer, and the boys reckon he was beaten by a whisker back in '95, so my money's with him. 100 on the nose.
Okay, he knows his stuff, Shane Lee. Same can't be said of Brett, but at least he's admitted that. What are you going to do with your 100?
Mate, I've just been terrible so far. I think I might go Freemason, it's number 5, ridden by Larry Cassidy, so I think I might have 100 on the nose for that.
All right, 100 on Freemason, number 5, 100 on number 1 from Shane Lee. And I can tell you, boys, it's been a terrific betting race, this. Blackfriars really coming into the market now. Some massive bets on Blackfriars. It is well and truly the outright favourite, but there's also been money for Shogun Lodge, also for Diatribe, which has come in from a double-figure quote, and Hill of Grace, the bottom one in the field, expected to, or some expecting it to repeat the dose from last week. Terrific betting race coming up for the Derby.
Thanks for that, Vossi, and the horses are making their way down behind the barrier. Now over 2,400 metres here at Randwick in a big race like the Derby. Tactics are very, very important. Here's Shane Dyer to tell us all about it.
From the 2,400 of the AJC Derby, barriers are very important. I've drawn barrier 4 on Shogun Lodge, and he's going to get a beautiful run, about 5th, 6th, one off the fence or on the fence. He has to relax. If he relaxes in the Derby, he'll be very hard to beat. Now, I'm expecting Fairway from an outside barrier to go forward and lead early in the race out of the first turn. He'll probably pull up like he did in the Canterbury and Rosehill Guineas. Today, a couple of other horses in the race might go forward and apply pressure. Now, Blackfriars, he's drawn out. He'll get back a bit, so will Freemason. They're the 2 horses to beat. If you're caught 3 and 4 wide in the Derby the whole race, you won't win. So you just can't afford to be 3 or 4 wide, simple as that. Now this race will begin at the half mile. Greg Charles will be on Blackfriars. You watch for him in the Sangster's colours. He'll be getting out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide into the clear and giving his horse every chance to win. Freemason will also be going forward. Now what I've got to do on Shogun Lodge is get off the fence and get into the clear running at about the 500 metres. Give him every chance to win. He can't afford to be getting held up. This is going to be a very exciting finish. I'm sure one horse won't dominate. It'll be a very, very close finish.
Yes, I'm sure it's going to be a very, very close finish. All right, Shane, it's going to be an absolute cracker. And let's see what's happening in the betting, Kent.
Yeah, Shogun Lodge is $6.70, just over 11 to 2 on the tote. Fairway at $13. He's firmed a little. $12 for Diatribe, $3.70 the favourite. Blackfriars, $7.20 for Freemason. Oval Office at $20. Crawl at $17. Cloth of Gold at $31. And over the page We go to TAB number 9, Now Voyager at $34, Liberty Hall 94, Bias Bay 122, Ken Con Khan at 18, Padfoot Charlie at $23, Uncle Nugget 105, and Hill of Grace, well in commission, 740 into 580. Wowee.
Plenty of support there for Hill of Grace, the only filly in the race. Simon Marshall's down there behind the barriers, and he's stuck with Fairway after a poor performance last start. Simon, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, well, Simon, you can forgive a good horse for one bad performance. And looking at Fairways around the barriers, he's lovely relaxed today. I just spoke with Brian York, and he said he's spot on. He never felt any better coming around to the barriers, so I'm confident. Thank you kindly. Shogun Lodge just walking past us now. He's not as big as some of these boys or the girl, Hill of Grace, but geez, he's compact. He's a very athletic type of horse. Now, Hill of Grace, you can put her up nearly beside Blackfriars, and you'd nearly be able to match the two. Gee, she's strong. She's got a lovely barrel, lovely long shoulder on her. Blackfriars, the same with him. He's a big, strong horse, nice and forward too. He's ribbed up. He's 110% fit for this race. Obviously, he's been trained to do his best work today by the Hayes family. Now, I can also tell you that Diatribe has never looked better. This is the best I've seen this horse, and Jimmy said on his way around here, he's just spot on today. So that's great confidence for a horse like him. Bart Cummings is 4. Well, Cloth of Gold, he looked pretty good too. He looked fine coming around to the barriers. Crawl, couldn't fault him. Freemason too has peaked at the right time. The best of the Hawks, 2 runners in the race. I think Freemason looks sensational. But Hill of Grace, she just looks fantastic, and she towers over some of these boys. She's very daunting. But I'm sticking with Fairway, folks. God give him strength.
Okay, Simon, you can see there that Fairway is in solid at $13 on the tote down the bottom in these market movers. Blackfriars has firmed a tad. Hill of Grace has come in considerably, 740 to 580. Shogun Lodge is pretty solid, and so is Freemason. Diatribe about $11 to 1 chance of $12 on the tote. Alrighty, it's a year 2000 AJC Derby, sponsored by Sam McGwell. $2 million in prize money, and the horses are about to start to move in. I don't think I've seen many bigger fillies than Hill of Grace. She reminds me of Empire Rose, Simon. What a big mare she used to be.
Yeah, she, you know, usually I suppose you'd find some physical differences other than the ones you could talk about quite easily, being a boy and a girl, but she just stands in there, and she holds her own particularly well against the colts.
She does, and the big colt, of course, is Blackfriars, the favourite. There's Cloth of Gold, Patrick Payne's mount, TAB number 8, one of the 4 Bart Cummings runners, and Cloth of Gold, as we told you earlier, was placed in the Canterbury Guineas. Oval Office behind him in the red sleeves and the black and gold colours. Oval Office just behind the place getters in the Rosehill Guineas, and he's certainly got a good chance as well. Oval Office is ridden today by Glenn Boss. Alrighty, just waiting for Cloth of Gold to take his place. The attendant brings him forward, and they'll be ready for the Blue Riband, the AJC Australian Derby. Here's Terry Bailey.
AJC Australian Derby. The lights are on. Blackfriars runs the favourite, and the gates are back. That was a great start. Bias Bay away quickly. Liberty Hall was going back shortly after the start. Hill of Grace away smartly, and Uncle Nugget on the fence showing speed. Bias Bay is going to rush through at the post and go to the front from Uncle Nugget. Fairways wide, travelling up around Hill of Grace. One away on the outside now, Voyager from Shogun Lodge. Then Crawl inside of Blackfriars, and Charles has found himself a beautiful spot, centre field, 1 out. 2 lengths to Liberty Hall and Oval Office from Ken Con Khan, Diatribe, Freemason. Padfoot Charlie, and last of all is Cloth of Gold. So they go past the 1800 metres mark, and York had taken the Canterbury Guineas winner.